Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, enjoying yourselves. Today is Jummah. My name is Yaqut Zaman. Hope you guys have been having a wonderful Jummah as well. The weather outside is very beautiful, nice and hot in the UK. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Let me just go on Instagram. Weather's beautiful outside, guys. MashaAllah. Enjoying the nice heat. Okay, let's put this up. Q&A. As usual, guys, on Fridays we do a Q&A. I'll try to answer some of your questions that you guys might have. And I've used the mic today. I've got a nice little mic over here I've been using, just to kind of see how this mic compares with the other one. Right, so at the moment we've got the other one here, but I haven't put it on yet. So ahlan wa sahlan, everyone. Ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. MashaAllah, Brother Naveed has already started asking questions. Wa alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, Naveed. I'm very good, thank you very much. Wiping of the head, must the forelock be included, or is any quarter? I watched your video, but I didn't understand that part, as it's the main opinion. Yeah, so any part of the head. Any part of the head. When do you think that the Siri al-Quduri whole book will be finished? Maybe 3 or 4 years' time. About 3 or 4 years. Did Ibrahim an-Nakhai take knowledge directly from the Lord Mas'ud, or was there always Al-Qamah? Yeah, so he didn't take it directly from him. When do you use for asking what, ma, and madha? So both are, it's a balagha point. It's a bit of a subtle balagha point. So both are used in the same way. So ma ta'kul, madha ta'kul. That is ism ishara, so there's more of like a ta'keed in the emphasis. So for example, if you say ma ta'kul, what are you eating? Ma dha ta'kul, what is this thing that you're eating? It's a bit more like that. When do you use the negative laysa, and when ma has sometimes? So ma is used when you're refuting something that's already said before. Yeah. So for example, if you say, for instance, ma akaltu, means I haven't eaten. Right? You think I might have eaten, but I haven't eaten. And laysa is used generally with a ism and a khabar. Yeah, so ism of laysa, khabar of laysa, so it has more of a permanent sentence. Laysa zaydun biqa'imin. If one has the intention to stay in Makkah for 15 days, will he pay qasr or full prayers in Arafat and Mina? So if he's going to stay continuously for 15 days in Makkah, continuously, then he's considered to be a resident in Makkah. Once he leaves Makkah to go to Mina, and he's going to stay there, then he is considered to be musafir. Yeah, over there he's considered to be in the hukum of musafir. Do we accept the hadith when Abi Ishaq narrates with an? Yes. Umran Ali wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahla wa sahla, my brother Umran. Kya hal hai? What's happening, my brother? Ibn Adam wa alaikum assalam. People on Instagram, ahla wa sahlan to you guys as well. I'm not ignoring you guys. Sufyan Malik wa alaikum assalam. Ahla wa sahlan. Which is an easy book to study? Asma Rijal from Tirmidhi Awal. Asma al-Rijal, if you want an easy book, very, very easy to follow, then Taqrib. So I've done a video. I don't know if you've watched my video on Taqrib, Tahdhib. But Taqrib is a very easy, it's one volume. You can just read that. Very basic. I mean, people don't read Asma al-Rijal books cover to cover. Usually, it's a reference book. For Balagha, which book is sufficient? Durus al-Balagha, Balagha Wadi. My course, my 2 Balagha courses are the best thing. Inshallah. Ahmad R. Wa alaikum assalam. As for Durus al-Balagha, I mean, it depends how it's taught. It's all about how it's taught. If a person teaches Durus al-Balagha very good, then alhamdulillah. Durus al-Balagha al-Wadiha is designed for Arabs. It's designed for Arabs by Arabs. Whereas Durus al-Balagha, it's designed more for, I would say, non-Arabs. Yeah. And again, it all depends on how the teacher teaches it. Right? You can't say one book is better than the other. If the teacher is very good at balagha and he can bring loads of examples, then then that's the best thing to do. Masir Ali, wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan, my brother Masir Ali. Kya hal hai? Kaif al hal? Look, let me just open the window a bit. There's some nice weather outside. I was going to do live stream outside, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to test it out first. So inshallah, maybe next time I'll try to test it. See if the internet signal, I might have to get a booster. Internet signal can reach the back of the garden. Alhamdulillah, Masir Ali, ana bi khair. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, welcome. Daniel, acha, alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, my brother Daniel. Muhammad Fahim, is one sheep sufficient for the whole family? Not according to Hanafis. In Qurbani, you're talking about you. I assume you're talking about Qurbani. So watch my Qurbani video, guys. I made a video on Qurbani. So, Qurbani. Which one is it? Where is it? What is Qurbani? Yeah, what is Qurbani? So that's what it's called. It's Qurbani. Wa alaikum assalam. Ahla wa sahla, my brother Abdul Rahman. What is your favorite note-taking method and favorite pen and notepads? I don't have a favorite pen. I don't have a favorite note. I generally depends. It depends. So if I prefer to write on paper because it's just the feeling. But I usually use my iPad. So I use my iPad. I use various apps on there. OneNote I use sometimes. Sometimes I might use the Apple, what's it called? Pages. I might use that. I might use something called Basic Explain. It's called Basic Explain. It's an app. So again, it all depends. It depends on what am I doing mutala for. Yeah. So usually, if I do a lot of writing, it's either I'm going to use pen and paper or I'm going to typing it up. If I travel from my home for more than 48 miles with no intention, and then I realize I have traveled more than 48 miles, when I reach there, can I do qasr if I intend to travel back home? So if you have traveled, basically the rule is you only become a traveler if you decided to travel the distance. If you decided to travel the distance of 48 miles. If you did not decide to travel the distance of 48, let's say you decide to travel 10 miles. Then you thought to yourself, you know what, let me just travel 10 more miles. I need to sort something out. Then let me travel 10 more miles of that. And you went up to 50 miles, 60 miles. You're not a traveler. But if you decide to go back home and you've intended more than 48 miles, then on the way, you're going to be a musafir. Kashif, alaikum assalam. We need a bookshelf tour, please. Inshallah, my brother. Inshallah. If you have someone do Qurbani on your behalf, but their Qurbani Eid comes before you do, so the Qurbani happens before or after Eid Salat. So there's two sort of like positions you can possibly take here. One position could be that it's not valid because clearly the Qurbani is done before your Eid Salat. The second one could be it possibly could be done because in the place that you're at, it's different from where the Qurbani is. Yeah, so I think in today's times, especially a lot of people, they might find this a bit of a problem. I generally go with the first opinion that you have to do it after your Eid. That's why I do mine. So I'll send it to a country where I know they'll do it either on the same day I do Eid or the next day. Salam, ahlan wa sahlan. Hassan Mufti, what is the term bay'ah and does it consist in terms of giving bay'ah to a scholar? Okay, so bay'ah, it basically means pledging allegiance, like making a promise to someone that you're going to listen to them. This is not necessary to do at all. The only allegiance we have to pledge is to Allah and His Prophet ﷺ, and if there was a khilafah. But to pledge allegiance to anyone else is not necessary. It's optional. It's basically just like you go to someone and you say to them, look, I swear whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it. Yeah. And obviously as Muslims, we're going to listen to the good stuff. like pray salat, read Quran, not commit sins. That's the idea. So it's the whole point of a mentor. You call it a mentor, a murshid. The whole point of a murshid is that you get basically the idea of a personal sort of like a personal trainer, spiritual trainer. That's what it is. So you find someone and you think to yourself, this guy, I find it very difficult to get for Fajr Salat. I find it very difficult to read Quran regularly. I find it very difficult to stay away from sins. But if I go to this personal trainer and I make a promise that I'm going to listen to what he says, and I'm going to tell him my whole situation, and he's going to guide me like how to navigate, then that's very good for, if you need that, that's good. You should do it, I would say. A person should do it, but it's not necessary on everyone to do. That's the whole point of this whole. The problem you don't want to happen in bay'ah is when it becomes a bit cultish, when people think my personal mentor is better than your personal mentor. What we do is much superior than what you do, and that becomes a bit cultish, and that's not right. So that's why I would say it's good, but again, you need to know the limits. Masir Ali, are you able to do qurbani in your backyard without getting caught in the UK? I mean, you can try it, but if neighbors complain, if they contact the authorities, then you might be in trouble. Ali wa alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan. If things start to go sour straight after nikah while doing istikhara, is it a bad sign? No. So basically, istikhara does not mean your nikah will be successful. Remember that, guys. If you ever do nikah, never ever think that. Sorry, if you ever do istikhara, never ever think that whatever I've done istikhara for, I'm always going to be going through good times in there. All right, which is wrong. If you do istikhara, you're going to go through bad. Most likely, you will go through bad times. Yeah, you can have hardships, difficulties. Istikhara is basically when you put your trust in Allah. Whatever's going to happen in the future. Like, for example, let's say there's a road, you don't know if you should go on this road. You do istikhara to Allah and you carry on. Now, that istikhara basically means whatever's going to happen on your road, Allah is going to protect your deen. It's going to be good for your deen. It's going to be good for your dunya. That's the whole point. So if a person, let's say, for example, for argument's sake, let's say Zayd is going to get married to Zainab, and Zayd now has an istikhara of whether he should go ahead with it, and he goes ahead with it. Then he finds out Zainab turns out to be someone who is very difficult to live with. She's very abusive. She doesn't pray her salats on time. Or the other way around. Zainab wants to get married to Zayd, and he turns out to be someone who's very violent or abusive or anything like that. That does not mean istikhara was wrong. That means the istikhara was right. It's just that the outcome of that is going to be good for you. Yeah, so you might go through a bit of difficulties in life. You might get a divorce. Who knows? You might actually work later on. But in the long run, it's going to be good for you. That's why people, I think, have a misunderstanding about this whole idea of istikhara. They think istikhara is like the golden ticket. That if I done istikhara, my marriage has to be good. How can it not be good? I did istikhara to Allah. Yeah, now imagine this. Don't you think the prophets did istikhara? Look at their lives. Look at the hardships they went through. Yeah, difficulties. Nuh alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, the Prophet himself. Their du'as were better than any of our istikharas, but still they went through difficulties. That is the whole point. You're welcome, my brother Hassan. You're welcome. Ahlan wa sahlan. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. Ibn Adam is saying, is there any hadith or something similar that we can't talk whilst Quran is open? Is it allowed? No, I haven't come across any hadith like that. I mean, the idea is when you're reading Quran, there should be some decorum, manners, respect that you show the Quran when you're reading it. Or when you listen, the Quran says that when the Quran is being recited, be quiet and listen. So that clearly shows there are some manners you have to show the Quran. Yeah. So etiquette, adab, these are things that you should show. Ibn Adam, alaykum assalam. Can the wife stipulate no second marriage in the nikah contract? And does this ibara from Hanafi fiqh text allow this? وإن تزوج على ألف على أن لا يتزوج عليها فإن وفى لها مسمى وإلا فمهر مثلها. No, this got nothing to do with that. So basically, you cannot stipulate before marriage anything which is going to be in the marriage, according to Hanafi. Hanafis basically say this. They say any condition that you stipulate in a marriage will not happen in them after the marriage takes place. Basically, it's like as though he never even said it. Yeah, that's the idea. You cannot stipulate a condition in a marriage. So this text has got nothing to do with that. إذا تزوج إن تزوج على ألف على أن لا يتزوج. If a man was to marry a woman on the condition that if he does not marry another woman, then she gets 1,000. عليها فإن وفى فلها المسمى. She gets 1,000, and if he doesn't fulfill, then she gets mahar misl. Yeah, that's got nothing to do with the nikah. That's got to do with just a stipulation of the mahar. Do we have to do qurbani on behalf of family members too? If we have, no. You only do qurbani on your own behalf. That's it. Mufti, how was Shimla's in Bradford, and how did you find the city overall? Shimla's in Bradford is okay. It's not amazing. I wasn't really too amazed by it because in Birmingham we got a lot of places. It was okay. It's good. I mean, I would say maybe it's like a 4 or 5. Nothing special. But yeah, definitely, inshallah, I would like to come to Bradford again. Maybe if you know some other good places, maybe you come down, we can go there, inshallah. Bradford, I like Bradford. Nice and calm compared to Birmingham. Yeah, people are a bit sort of laid back. That means slaughter a cow in your backyard, then feed your neighbor steak, unless they're vegans. Oh, Yasin, ahlan wa sahlan wa alaikum assalam. My brother Yasin, ahlan wa sahlan. Ahlan wa sahlan wa alaikum assalam. I hope you're well, Yasin. Hope the people of Blackburn are good. Blackburn, yeah? Sorry, Officer, please can you repeat your answer about nikah? My reception went out. I missed it. What you do, rewind it. You can rewind it, inshallah, listen to it. And if you can't listen to it, then at the end, inshallah, I'll repeat it. Wa alaikum assalam, Yasin. Hope you're well. Interesting that someone asked a question about what ma and mother again. Alhamdulillah, that's good. Ilm, that shows people are still interested in learning ilm. I like that. Spend, ahla wa sahlan, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahla wa sahlan, my brother. I hope your Jummah went well. Do you still cycle? Yes, I do. I cycle, alhamdulillah. At the moment, my bike is in the bike shop. I've got a problem with the back tire, so that's getting sorted. Hopefully, that should be ready this weekend. Do you cycle, Hassan? Yahya, wa alaikum assalam. Doesn't the hadith in Muslim obligate us all to give bay'ah? Man mata wa laysa fi unuqihi bay'atun mata. Yeah, so this is talking about the context, isn't it? This is talking about a context where there is a Muslim leadership. Yeah, a Muslim leadership. So basically, so you have to understand every hadith has to have a context. Yeah, you can't just take a hadith and just apply it as literally as you can. No, there's a context. The context of this is to do with a time where there is a leader, Muslim leader. The Prophet ﷺ was a Muslim leader, of course, and then he sent out governors, and then they were the leaders of their communities and so forth. Why isn't the 13th day not permissible for slaughtering? The 13th day, well, because the fuqaha say that the slaughtering can only happen on the 10th, 11th, and the 12th. These are the only 3 days that we have from narrations where slaughtering actually took place. Yeah. If they are vegan, send them the organs and video of the slaughter. That's true. Actually, if they're vegan, just let them smell it. وَبَلَدُهُ لَيْسَ بِهَا أَنِيسٌ تركيب, please. So بَلَدُهُ is مبتدا مضاف مضاف إليه, and then the rest of it is the khabar. لَيْسَ بِهَا أَنِيسٌ. أنيس is the ism of لَيْسَ. بِهَا is jar majroor متعلق to كائنا. So لَيْسَ أَنِيسٌ كائنا بِهَا. That becomes the khabar. I notice in myself that when I read books, I run into the problem of thinking I understand something, but not understanding the text and not being able to explain, build upon what it. Yeah, I understand. This can happen because the reason why this happens is because what happens is when generally people start learning Islam, they already have packed into their minds a lot of concepts. So because there's a lot of concepts out there, those concepts are superimposed from your mind onto the text. I find this with students as well. So when I'm teaching them in year 1, year 2, year 3, usually they'll have a lot of questions that they've probably kind of heard, and they kind of think this is how it's supposed to be. So they wrongly attribute or superimpose that thought onto that particular text. Now, what I would say, how do you build up? Is the ideal way to study is you empty yourself of everything you've learned in the past. Everything you've learned, you uneducate yourself. And then you educate yourself. That is a very hard thing to do. Yeah, there's no way to do that. You sabr. You have to do lots of sabr until you reach a level where now things start making sense. If you actually saw a post I put up on Telegram and Twitter yesterday, which was about learning core texts. So core texts are very important to study. So you have to study in every science a few core texts. What that does is that gives you a correct map of that science, maps it out for you, and it saves you from making serious mistakes. Then after that, once you start reading books, what starts to happen, you start building up on that. So use that as your measure, and then you start building up. Yeah, so that's basically how you do it. And sometimes what happens is it's just sabr. It's just sabr. Now, so you might not understand the text because your level of understanding hasn't reached that point yet. You might, sometimes it happens to me, I might have studied something 20 years ago, and now I'm starting to understand it at a very good level because I've had experience with books and teaching and other sciences, and I'm putting them together now, and it's given a much more clear meaning. But generally, it's very hard. I mean, you're right. It's very hard to go through. But the thing is, make sure you study the core texts, and then after that, you supplement it with other reading as well. Yeah, that's what you do. That's the cure, my brother. Jazakallah, you're welcome. Yahya, Alia, Jazakallah khair, you're welcome. Got to hit Kuduri and Al-Aqta harder now. Definitely. And inshallah, as you go through Kuduri and you learn Kuduri and you start reading other books on the side, right? Start reading Jawharatul Nayyara, start reading Lubab, start reading Al-Ikhtiyar with it as well. And that way, you're slowly going to build your understanding. In all of this, I'm going to say it again, and I always say this, you need a good teacher, honestly. Good teacher can never be underestimated. Never underestimate a good teacher. A good teacher is always going to give you something you can never get through other means. Yeah, and a good teacher is someone who, number one, has a wide reading of that science, really wide reading, not just like reads a few here and there, wide reading. And number two, he knows possible objections that can be raised against discussions. And number three, he knows how to slowly, progressively feed the student the information bit by bit. If you can get a teacher like that, wah, in every book, Sahih Bukhari, if you had a teacher like that in Sahih Bukhari, you'd have the best teacher. If you had a teacher like that in Hidayah, you got the best teacher. If you got a teacher like that in, I don't know, other sciences, Nahu and others, that's what you need. And that's what we want in madrasas. In madrasas, we want teachers that have that ability. Yeah, not just passion to teach. Because you could get someone who's got a passion to teach, and what they do is their preparation for the lesson is basically they look at an Urdu commentary. I've seen that a lot. They read an Urdu commentary, they figure out what they say, they make notes on that, and then when they deliver, they basically like a carbon copy. They parrot everything that they've. Now, if you were to kind of stop them and say, okay, explain without these notes, explain it to me, with external. If they can't do that, that means they haven't really understood the science. And sadly, I would say, from my experience, there's a lot of places out there where the teachers don't have these traits in them that allow the student to really kind of get to the core of the discussions. Yeah, that's what it should do. In reality, every lesson, students should at the end of it feel as though they've got this really good connection with the subject, and they feel as though they can engage with it. It's not just if a student at the end thinks I've understood, that's not enough. I say they have to feel that they have understood and engaged with it. Sheikh's trying to make me read everything, but alhamdulillah, you are good teachers, and now I have to. Alhamdulillah. See, that's my trick. Get you to read everything. Why did the live timings change Live timings. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. You're in Australia, aren't you? So in the UK, we have daylight savings changing times. So it's the same time for us. But what's happened is our hour shifts twice a year. Yeah. So it's called daylight savings time. So in the future, what I would suggest is just type in UK time. So if you type in the UK time 3:30 now, it will come up as whatever in your country. Which is Aqta is not taught. Aqta is basically just a commentary. This is a very, very short commentary on Quduri because Aqta was one of the earliest of Quduri. Can we give Qurbani for our siblings who don't meet the criteria for Qurbani? Of course, optionally. It's optional then. That means it's optional. Then you can optionally give it. It's fine. No problem with that. But it's just not necessary for you to give. I've got some questions from Bain Yadayk, food and drink chapter, if it's okay. تفضل. أكل السمك والسلطة والفاكهة. Why are all the maf'ul given as ma'rifah? I see. So basically, when it comes to food, generally food, vegetables and fruit and all that stuff, you add an alif lam onto it, and this alif lam is what we call alif lam for genus. It's called a genus alif lam. Yeah. So in English, when we say, for example, I like apples, in Arabic, where you don't say jama, you say uhibbu at-tufah. Right? So whenever you're talking about something which does not exist in the real world in front of you, it's in your head, you put alif lam on there. So genus basically means it's a kind of like, it's abstract, it exists in your head, but you're not talking about something that's in the real world. But if you were to say, I ate the apple, so you're talking about something that exists in the real world, then in that case you add a ta at the end, ta. Yeah. And if you say I ate an apple, you don't put alif lam on there. Okay, so the idea basically is, when it comes to animals, when it comes to fruit, when it comes to veg, you add this alif lam. Same, I mean, for example, when people say, Islam, Allah gave the Muslims Islam. In Arabic, you say al-Islam, you add alif lam onto it. The Islam. It's not the Islam. It's just basically talking about something which is ahad, we call this ahad dhihni. So alif lam comes for various sort of reasons. But that's like a gist of it. That's how I explain to the students. If you're going to say, I like chicken over lamb, you're going to put al on there. But if you say, I like a chicken, I like eating a chicken, then you're not going to put alif lam. Aqta is normally not taught in madaris. It was recently published completely for the first time. What if someone went to a madrasa at a very young age and now wants to learn better? How can they go through the books again? There are two things. If they're very hardworking, they can read the books themselves, and usually that's not the case. They should start the course again. Do the course somewhere else and study core books. You don't have to study all the books. Study core books with someone, and then the rest of it you should be able to fill in, inshallah. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of places like this where people have graduated, have started studies at 12 years old, and poor parents think my daughter's doing alim course, mashallah, and they don't realize that it's just basically namesake alim course. It's just, they're just passing through, like strolling through the alim course, skipping through the alim course without really understanding what the alim course is about. Imagine someone did a medical course at the age of 12. They started like in maktab or in school, you do medical degree with your school studies at 12, and you qualify as a doctor at 18. Yeah, it's a bit like that, unfortunately. My brother Mullah, wa alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, my brother, kya hal hai? Theek thaak, my brother. Please answer above masjid question. Masjid question? I can't see the masjid question. Don't know if you can repaste the masjid question. I can't see. Wa alaikum assalam, my brother Muhammad, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome. Ustad, could you please explain when people give the 7th part of or one part of Qurbani for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? So some people, what they do basically is so you can basically, when you're slaughtering an animal for Qurbani, if it's a cow, you divide it up into 7 parts. You can pay for all 7 parts. You can pay for half of it and half someone else. Up to you, whatever you want. But maximum 7 people. Now you can also give a share on behalf of someone that's passed away, and you can also give a share on behalf of the Prophet ﷺ as a sadaqah jariyah. Yeah, that's allowed. So sadaqah jariyah is permissible. آكل وجبة واحدة آكل 3 وجبات. Why is the number of times in the first sentence presented last, where the order is swapped around in the second sentence? آكل وجبة واحدة. I see. So basically, this is to do with numbers. So in Arabic, when you have numbers, like in English, when we have numbers, we say something like, I read a book. In reality, what you're really saying is, I read a book 1, meaning I read 1 book. Yeah, I read a book. What you really mean is, I read 1 book. Yeah, and when you say I read 2 books, I read 3 books. So when you say a book, you really mean I read 1 book. The same thing happens in Arabic. So in Arabic, when you say numbers, so numbers follows a like it's kind of pattern, which is if you say 1, you technically don't say the number like English. No, you say a book. So if you say qara'tu kitaban, really what you're saying is qara'tu kitaban wahidan. Yeah. Now all other numbers after that, well, it really starts from 3. You have to say the number first and then the object after it. That's for all numbers from 3 onwards. Yeah, but 1 and 2 is a bit unique. For 1 and 2, you say, I read a book, meaning I read a book in brackets 1. I read 2 books. I read books, and then you put 2. And then for 3, 4, 5, you say, I read 3 books. I read 4 books, like that. So 1 and 2 follow a different pattern. In madrasas, do they go through books cover to cover? It depends where you study. So, and also depends what kind of book it is as well. So certain books, they might not go through the whole of the book. Ideally, you should go through all the book. That's the ideal thing. But some books, you might not go through all of it. In the UK, what I've noticed is a lot of places, they don't go through the books, all the books. They go through maybe 50% of it, 60%, 70%. You enjoying the beautiful weather? Must be nice to go biking. Alhamdulillah, very nice. The only problem is when you go biking in the sun like this, what happens is nice breeze hits you, which is good, mashallah, but you sweat a lot and you get tanned a lot. Yeah, so the heat, because the sun is hitting you constantly, so you're in the sun for 1, 2, 3 hours. Yeah, then you get, so you got to put like sun cream on or something, or and so, and if you sweat a lot, then if that part of the skin keeps rubbing with another part of the skin, you can get a bit sore. But Ustad, if I need 1 part of the cow or 2 parts, could I ask my relatives to not give a part to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, not to give 2 parts for their younger children who don't need the parts? Of course you can. Totally fine. It's optional. Give us your number. Allah. Numberat. What is the name of this? Numberat. This guy gets numbers. Yeah, guys. So basically, that's been the nice day today. Alhamdulillah. I gave a Jummah talk today. And inshallah, put the talk up on Telegram. Inshallah. And this week I've been uploading videos as usual. Alhamdulillah. So learn how to read the Quran. We started Surah Tariq today. This week was it Tariq? Tariq, I think it was, yeah. Surah Tariq. And also Tuesday we had dua. So we covered a nice dua of debt. Wednesday we did Diwan of Ali radiallahu anhu. Yeah, so it's a very nice poem. And then Thursday, Quduri started Kitab al-Rahn. Alhamdulillah, Kitab al-Rahn. So now the kind of tough chapters are starting now. Yeah, so if you've done Quduri in the past, from Rahn onwards, there are a lot of tough chapters. And the reason they're tough is because a lot of people don't know the application of these in the real world. What if they say no? Then that's it. They say no, innit? What can you do? Explain. I don't understand, brother. Ibn Adam, I can't see what is your question? I think maybe you might be writing a question, it's not coming up. So you see, if you look on this side over here, has your question come up here? If your question has come up here, then I can see it. If your question has not come up there, then that means I can't see it. Okay, I'm going to go off Instagram. All right, Instagram people, take care, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. They have gone. Oh yeah, last week I left. I didn't realize I left the stream. MashaAllah. I realized later. I was actually answering some emails, and I was like kind of like thinking to myself, like, what's this? So this is what happens, guys. Qadr, the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, taqdeer. Ya Allah. In terms of adab, will you do kalila wa dimna, or will you carry on with manfluti? So kalila wa dimna is good. I mean, I remember I started the other short story series. Studying kalila dimna is not necessary, but because kalila dimna is actually translated from, I don't know, some Indian language to Arabic. So it was not an Arabic written text. It's actually been translated. So originally the Arabs found it from some Indian source, and then it was translated. So I mean, I don't know, maybe in the future I'll see. I think the point is try to read as much Arabic as you can. I'm going to try to cover various types of genre in Arabic, without a doubt. Definitely, various genre are important. Assalamu alaikum assalam, simple smarts. Have you heard of Mabadi al-Usul? There are several Mabadi al-Usuls out there. You have Mabadi al-Usul that's been written by Dr. Akram Nadawi. There's Mabadi al-Usul that's been written by Mufti Saeed Ahmad Palampuri. And I've seen both of them. And I actually taught, Saeed Ahmad Palampuri, I've taught that a few times. It's Mufti Saeed Ahmad Palampuri's is basically a shorter, it's like a summarized version of Usul al-Shashi. Yeah, really, really condensed. Yeah, it just gets to like the basic definitions. So it's good for a beginner. Usually, I mean, I do my normal usul, which is 28 lessons of usul on my uruk.com. And after that, I recommend studying something like that. It'd be good, because then you come across definitions. As Al-Kawthar Academy are doing it. Yeah, if they're doing it, go for it. Go for it. Hamasa, yeah, Hamasa is good. I actually did Hamasa a long time ago. This was like, I think 2015, 2016. I did a Hamasa course on Hamasa. I think it was about 13 lessons or 14 lessons covering selected points from Hamasa. Hamasa is good. It kind of gives you a taste of what pre-Islamic poetry was like and Islamic poetry. If we go to the masjid, can we start in a row by ourselves alone? The other day, someone pulled me back and said there should be two people. So generally, you should try not to be alone in a row. Yeah. And if you know someone's going to join you, then you can obviously start in a row alone. What you should do is, if you're alone in a row, you touch someone at the front, and if they know the rule, they step back and join you. So you have at least two people. But Maulana Shah Kashmiri says, if the people fear that, these guys won't understand, I might tap someone and he might just elbow me, then just stand in the row on your own. Yeah, stand in the row then. Alaikum assalam, ahla wa sahlan AC. Is trimming the beard permissible if one intends to grow it back thicker for one with a thin beard? I mean, I would say you should let the beard grow. I would say generally let the beard grow. I don't know. I mean, maybe someone's got some medical condition, but generally let the beard grow. You can trim the beard if it's to make it look more presentable. Like if a person has a defect on one side, the hair is growing a lot on the left side. So possibly to be able to balance it, I would say there might be permissibility for that. But generally depends how much trimming of the beard is done. Like some people want to shave their beard and let it grow thick. There's lots of different other ways that you can get to thicken your beard, right? You know, you can do like massages on your beard. You can use certain types of oils. Haydar, wa alaikum assalam. I've studied basic usul fiqh. Shall I study the Mabadi al-Usul with Al-Kawthar, or shall I do your 20 lessons? So, I mean, I would generally say do the 20 lessons because obviously it's my course. I don't know how Kawthar is going to be teaching it. If Al-Kawthar is the teacher is going to be good, then I would definitely recommend it. It would definitely be better to study it with someone live. I would say, yeah. If that's the case, study the Al-Kawthar one. If the teacher's good, like they know their stuff really well and they know how to present the information, then I would say study with them, definitely. But I would obviously, I'm gonna always recommend my own courses. You know me, bro. All right, guys. Trimming the beard doesn't make it grow back thicker. It's a myth. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I think the guys who invented that myth were guys who don't like don't like beards. They're like, oh, I don't. I'm just cutting it, shaving it just to make it thicker. The other day, I asked if you thought Andrew Tate has a positive impact on the Muslims. My question was about his masculinity message, whether you think it's had positive impact. I don't know, you know. I don't really kind of follow him too much, and I don't watch too many of his videos to know exactly. Like I said, you know, people should not. I mean, someone can say, for example, let's say Terminator 2 had a really big impact on a lot of people, yeah, because of, I don't know, the guy's body or something, and now youngsters want to keep themselves fit and stuff like that. So this kind of an argument, I think it's like clutching at straws kind of argument. It's like something like, really, I mean, I don't know, has he had an impact on masculinity, or has he had it? The only way we could know this is if we do a survey and find out from the vast majority of public if he's had a positive impact. Has he made people more arrogant? Has he made men arrogant? Has he created a lot of egotistical men? Has he created a lot of people who basically just want to worship their bodies more? Stuff like that. Of course, he would have had an impact on people who are lazy and people who have low confidence. How many, like, other question would be, what are the other things that have had an impact on masculinity of men besides Andrew Tate? Like, what other things are out there? Football players, or maybe Khabib, or things like that. So we got to be very careful about, just because something has had a positive impact on certain aspects of certain things, we can't blind ourselves to the harms that thing has also caused, and also where just because we've only seen one individual do this and we haven't seen others, we haven't seen the results of others, we've got to be careful, I think. Yeah, so it's very important, I think, as Muslims especially, because a lot of times it happens with youngsters. People will say, I don't know, like watching wrestling has made my confidence. I've got more confidence in watching WF wrestling, or maybe even I've gained more confidence as a man by hanging around with other men. That could also be something as well. Yeah. So I think maybe not. You can't really kind of give one answer there. It's a bit nuanced. I don't know. What do you think? Kafia or Qatr Nada for Alimiya students? Again, you know what? It depends. If a teacher's very good at Kafia, like I've seen teachers who are excellent at Kafia, like really memorize Kafia, they know examples of Kafia, they know arguments for and against. So it all depends on the teacher. Kafia is a very hard book to be able to condense book. If the teacher's very good, then yes. Yeah, I think yes. Otherwise, if the teacher's not that good, then maybe Qatr Nada would be better, especially Sharh Qatr Nada. Yeah, the Sharh of it. Regarding your fiqh of zakat, can I skip over the cow and camel parts as I don't feel like it is relevant today? So see, the thing is, when you're studying fiqh, you have to study everything. And the reason you have to study everything is because sometimes what happens in another part of fiqh, they might refer back to it and say, remember this masla, how the fuqaha understood this masla. That's how we understand it here. I was actually surprised when I studied Bukhari and Tirmidhi, how much I needed to know the rulings of zakat in the books of fiqh, especially cows and camels and these things. I was surprised. So it depends how far you want to go into fiqh. If you just want to cover fiqh like superficially, then it's fine. Don't study that. Miss that out. Yeah, but if you want to go into really in depth and later on you want to build yourself a good understanding. Is it true? Is it true data analysis wanting to conduct surveys? I think that's what we have to realize today, because data doesn't lie. Like if you do honest data, if you do honest research, it does not lie. I mean, we got to be careful. Data kind of dispels a lot of misleading facts or misconceptions that are or rumors that are spreading amongst youngsters. Youngsters don't follow data that much. Youngsters like following what's hype, the trends, and today is very hard because on your social media, sometimes you're shown certain types of videos, and all of a sudden you think the whole world is seeing these, whereas in reality, those videos are geared towards you. Where can we find out more about similar masail regarding the masjid questions I asked? If you're not standing in one row alone, is it in Hidayah? No, you're not going to find it in Hidayah. You're going to find it in something like a bit more detailed book, like maybe Badai' Sanai will have it. Badai' Sanai, Bahr al-Ra'iq will have it. Yeah, Bahr al-Ra'iq, Binaya will have it. And it's a common sort of thing that in hadith as well. Muhammad Prairie, wa alaikum assalam, ahla wa sahlan, my brother Muhammad Prairie. Many confuse something that is long with something that is hard. Shar ibn Aqid isn't very difficult, but it's just long and detailed. Would you agree? 100%. That's it. Again, and like I said, it all goes back down to how it's taught. When you do your live stream tomorrow, inshallah, tomorrow I'll have live stream, inshallah. Ahlan wa sahlan. To me, masculinity is about fulfilling the obligations and duties of Allah. Subhanallah. What a bang on saying. I mean, that's not necessarily masculinity. That's like basically for everything, really, as a Muslim. I think masculinity is more than, it's like masculinity is like the form that you take in which you worship Allah. Kafir is a prime example. It's not very long, but it's very difficult. Yeah. So the personal question, don't have to answer. Did you marry from your first language country, England, or home language, Pakistan? I feel like this choice has a huge impact on personality. I married from different. Yeah. I think when it comes to marriage, I think the thing that you have to remember is marriage all goes down to an individual's own experiences in their family. So, for example, if you're brought up in a family that has a bad sort of like marriage model, right? It's not very dysfunctional. You might find it hard to be able to live in a married life. Like you might struggle a bit. It's not going to be difficult, but you might struggle a bit because you find it hard. How do you interact with all this? I don't know. Maybe, I mean, that's my own thinking. That is. But generally, you just have to trust in Allah. You have to, go for it. I'm going to study. Are you married, my brother A? I'm going to study finance at university. Do you have any tips on how I could incorporate Islam into my career? I have no idea. I don't know exactly what the options that you're going to have in the specific field of finance you're doing. But clearly, I mean, if you study Islamic finance, fiqh books, you will definitely have a lot of opportunities in the Islamic sector, inshallah. But you see, you can't tell at the moment. You're only going to know after maybe like 2 years, 3 years. I think people need to stop putting people on pedestals in every context. Takes follows. Got flaws in many areas, but he's good in areas of discipline. What were some of the biggest challenges when you were studying overseas? For me, I think it was getting accustomed to the food. I found that it was difficult because I used to get bad stomachs every week. So food was a bit of an issue, and heat, temperature. I think that was a bit of an issue as well. Those are the two main things I think I struggled with. Yaro, congratulations. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair. Sorry for the late reply. I don't really cycle, mainly play football. Ahlan wa sahlan. If people want to be inspired by him, it should be based on his strengths. Data can be manipulated too, like in marketing, they say 90% of people agree, but the survey. Yeah, that's why I said it has to be like honest data, honest surveys, honest representation. We need jami and mani definitions for masculinity. Allah, kya baat hai bhai. You need to have like qila and qals. فإن قيل وعليكم السلام ما شاء الله حبيبنا إسماعيل صاحب संग हाल दे खैरियत दे ما شاء الله. This is Mufti Ismail who studied with us, studied where I studied ما شاء الله. Now he's a Mufti in Pakistan ما شاء الله. Mufti Ismail Minhaj تقبل الله منكم أيضا. إن شاء الله إسماعيل صاحب زما إرادة دا باكستان راتلول إن شاء الله دا بل میاشت کې ان شاء الله دعا وکړه ان شاء الله چې ټیکټ ملاو شي ان شاء الله. Do you do nikahs? I do nikahs, but I only do nikahs for people that I know, because that just saves me time. Otherwise, lots of people ask me to do nikahs, and it just takes too much of my time because I have to go to a place and then I will stay there for 2 or 3 hours, and then I've got to travel back, and it just takes up a lot of my time. I think people think Maulanas love doing nikahs. Like they love attending walimas, and I think I'm one of those guys who doesn't like, unless I know the person very well and it's not too far to go. Mufti Faraz is a good resource as well as IFG. Yeah, definitely. Do you have imposter syndrome when you first started studying? Imposter syndrome? I don't know what's that. Sharif, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. What are the best advanced books of Arabic literature and rhetoric that should be taught in Alamiya? What are the best advanced books of Arabic literature? I think in Arabic literature, Maqamat al-Hariri, Hamasa, Diwan Mutanabbi, Mu'allaqat Sab'a, these are the literature, and also things like books on Malfaluti, Mustafa Rafi'i, Mukhtarat. These are the kind of books I think should be taught. Fikr, you want to give people language, you want to give them thought as well, you want to give them. And Balagha, rhetoric, should, yeah. Balagha, there's lots of books. Islamic Finance Guru is pretty good, but they are hard to reach. Yes, just that but I had to speak to you privately about it. Ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. If my father can't go to the masjid, would it be better for me to pray Jamaat with him as he had no one else, or for me to go to the masjid? He really wants to pray in congregation. If my father can't go to the masjid, would it be better for me to pray Jamaat with him as he had no one else for me to go to the masjid? I think you should sometimes pray with him, sometimes go to the masjid. Yeah, balance it out. They like eating at walimas. Yeah, I think people think that. I don't like weddings either. I don't know if I'll do my own. Go to my own whenever it happens. Inshallah, my brother. Inshallah. I actually got quite a few people that are asking for rishtas. So if anyone out there is looking for rishtas, some people have asked me to find some rishtas for them. So if anyone is out there looking on the rishta uncle, I was going to ask you to do mine, but I'll ask my own teacher, inshallah. Yeah, I think the best thing is ask your own teacher, I would say. Your own teacher would be someone who you've known them for a long time. They'd feel happy as well that you're asking your teacher. I mean, for you, I wouldn't mind doing it. No problem, my brother. But generally, I always tell, if someone comes to me and says to me, can you do my nikah? I first of all say to them, if it's a student, I say, look, go and ask this teacher, because they're senior than me, and I think it's a bit a respectful thing as well. Fresh Prince, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, my brother. Kya hal hai? Kayfa haluka ya akhi, ya habibana, ahlan wa sahlan, ana bi khair, alhamdulillah. When you feel like you're not good or intelligent enough, almost like you don't belong. I think I've got a bit of ego problem. I've never had that. I don't think I've had that. Yeah, I don't think I've had that. I think to a degree, generally Muslims are encouraged to not sort of see themselves as superior. They generally are encouraged to see themselves as humble and humble themselves. That's generally, I think maybe I'm in that category. See myself as a bit humble. Are you allowed to make stipulations on how money is spent when given to charity, i.e. give sadaqah, condition that you don't use it for marketing admin? Yes, you can. Yeah, you're allowed to, because that's your money. If it's for sadaqah, charity, you can tell them. وجدت نورا فيك الحمد لله الحمد لله نور الله وجهك. So is it wrong if I think it's difficult to socialize with others in a language if I can't do the same with my spouse? I mean, I don't know. It's difficult one. Different people socialize in different ways. I think some people are more extroverts. It doesn't matter what language, they can socialize with anyone. And some people are more introverts. Maybe they find it, first of all, very difficult to socialize even in their own language. And maybe some people only like socializing with people who know their culture, who know their... I used to remember in madrasa, I used to find it hard when I used to socialize with people from Africa. I used to find it very hard in the beginning. Then I got used to it because they had their own way of humor. They had their own way of sort of like, bouncing off each other. And then the Africans that lived in France, however, the France-born ones, they were different. I could relate to them very quick because they were more like Pakistanis that were born and brought up in the UK. They had similar sort of like upbringings, similar kind of styles of jokes, humor. Yeah, so I think that's the other thing. AKA Rista uncle, bro. How does one differentiate confidence and arrogance? Arrogance would be when you see someone as less than you. That's where the fine line is. Whereas confidence is you feel like strong enough, or you trust yourself enough in a certain thing. So if you have like trust and confidence in yourself to speak to someone or to give a talk in front of people, that would be confidence. But if you feel you're giving the talk and you feel that you are better than them because you're giving the talk, that now slowly goes into the realm of arrogance. So which nationalities were you interacting on a daily basis while you were studying? All sorts. There was like about 10 African countries. There were like different areas of Bangladesh. There were different areas of Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Europe, then from the Khalij areas, from the States, from Caribbean. Yeah, all sorts. So you had to kind of learn different styles of people. I can't stand intro, especially those who don't talk at all. I'm sure my brother Ibn Adam, they can't stand you. Confidence, a belief in your own abilities, arrogance, a hope, desire that others know about your abilities. Wow, I like that one. I mean, maybe I would disagree with a hope that others know about your abilities, because that can also be a good thing as well. Like a Sahabi came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, when I do something and I feel inside, I want others to know about what I've done. Is this bad? The Prophet ﷺ said, no, it's not. Because it's not all the time that you do something, because having acknowledgement from other individuals is sometimes a good thing as well. You naturally want it. So I think maybe that end part would be slightly adjusted. You got to teach the difference between ujub and confidence too. Yeah. So see, this is what it is. It's a whole spectrum. Arrogance has a spectrum. In your inheritance playlist, you didn't finish off all the fixed Quranic shareholders. I think the last one was full sister. You didn't do mother. Yes, I remember now. I haven't finished that. That's one of my other incomplete projects that I need to do. Jazakallah reminding me. Wa alaikum assalam. Ibi ahla wa sahlan. How was the Saeed Kamali talk? MashaAllah, Saeed. Oh yeah, so last week, the reason I didn't have the Saturday live stream was because Sheikh Saeed Kamali from Morocco, he came down. MashaAllah, is really nice talk. It was like, really, really beneficial talk, I would say. He went through Riyadh al-Salihin section of Kitab al-Ilm. I missed the Friday one, but I was there for the Saturday one. And then after that, there was like, I met lots of people, mashallah, and actually got a book I'm going to show you tomorrow. So I met a lot of people, a few subscribers, quite a few ulama networking, lots of networking done. And then after that, we had dinner with the ulama, had dinner with Sheikh Saeed Kamali. MashaAllah, it's really nice. It was good to sit with him. He speaks English. Surprised, speaks English quite good as well. So yeah, nice, mashallah. It's really good. I enjoyed it a lot. And then I got back really late. Like literally, I left the house to get there. I went about 6:30. Then I got back about 2 in the morning. Because there was so many people to meet and there was so many places to go. That's the thing when you go to these events, you meet a lot of people. So mashallah, it's really nice. I'm currently doing the Islamic Inheritance course with White Thread Institute. Ahlan wa sahlan, mashallah. MashaAllah. Did you meet a brother called Junaid? Yes. I met Junaid. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. When Sayyidina Ali went out to face Amr ibn Abi Abdul, and Amr laughed when he saw him to a young man, saying, could they not find someone else? Sayyidina Ali said, I am the lowest of the believers, but you deserve no one besides me. Subhanallah. ما هي رائحتك المفضلة؟ رائحتي المفضلة أو عطر المفضلة عندي العود. So are you still teaching in As-Sufa? Yes. Ibi, what? Why not have the Sheikh speak English then? I don't think he's as fluent in English. Like he won't be able to translate the poems that he read. Yeah, that's the beautiful part about his, because he quotes a lot of Arabic poetry and that I don't think he'll be able to translate into English. I was stuck on my phone during the talk because the translation being done over the talk. Couldn't listen to Arabic as a result. What's the ruling on a woman traveling alone beyond 57? Is there any opinions in the Hanafi school where she can, if there is a dire need for it and the journey is safe, possibly, yeah. Did he show you his Al-Wasiyah book? Yeah, I actually got it. He gave me a Wasiyah book. Yeah. Bayhaqi. Al-Bayhaqi. Anyway, guys, I'm going to finish there. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for tuning in. And this time I will really go off and not just sit here answering messages and emails. So have a nice, wonderful day today, mashallah. I will see you guys tomorrow, inshallah. And I will show you the book as well that I got. Take care, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.